Okay, let's keep going with mages. Mages got what for me? 7 cards. Freezing potion, 0 mana. Freeze an enemy. Nah. Why would I play this? I don't know. Not impressed. I don't really see much of an application for this card. Cabal Lackey. 1 mana, 2/1 battle cry. The next secret you play this turn costs 0. This could be pretty good. I mean, the effect already exists, but on a more expensive card. And yeah, if you have more of that, if you have enough secret synergy in your deck, and there are more secret synergy cards in this expansion, so this could potentially become good enough to play an actual secret deck with all the minions that get buffed or that benefit from secrets, like Ethereal Conjurer and whatever the name of the thing is that gets +1/+1 in taunt or something when you have a secret. So yeah, in that case, in a secret deck, possibly good if the secret deck is strong enough to be played, and I think it looks strong enough to be tried. Manic Soulcaster, Battlecry, choose a friendly minion, shuffle a copy into your deck. This could be nice for several things. I mean, first of all, it's a 3 mana 3/4, so if you cannot use the Battlecry and you have to play it on turn 3 as just a vanilla minion, it's not bad. It's not great, like a 3 mana 3/4 is not great anymore, but it isn't... It's not like, okay, this is just crappy if I play it on its own and it'll probably throw me back. And that's, for me personally, quite an important aspect of a card. So if you have to play this on its own, it's not going to lose you the game. And if you can use the Battlecry effect, then it's potentially quite good. I think it's, for example, interesting for Reno decks, because obviously the card that you shuffle into your deck, you have already played it, so it's not an additional copy. And Reno still works. You can copy your Reno. You can like Ice Block, Reno, Manic Soulcaster your Reno, and then you draw another Reno and survive even more. So yeah, interesting card. I look forward to playing around with that. It obviously opens up other possibilities. You can have multiple legendaries. You can have, like, if you have a card that you want 3 times, you can get that 3 times. So yeah, interesting. Potion of Polymorph. Secret for 3 mana. After your opponent plays a minion, transform it into 1/1 sheep. I'm not sure what to think of this card. I mean, because there is Mirror Entity, your opponent is most likely already going to play around that, and he's going to play his least good minion first when you have a secret in play. And then you would sheep that. And that's not really good. The only thing where I can see this is play, either if you have both Mirror Entity and sheep, and you just have too many of those for some decks to play around. Or if you are playing a secret deck because of like Cabal Lackey and so on, and you don't want to run Ice Block, you don't want to run Armor for some reason, maybe, but you need a certain number of secrets just to work for all your synergies, and in that case it might see play, but I'm not too impressed with this. Volcanic Potion. 3 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions. So it's like a powered up Arcane Explosion for 3, but it deals damage to all minions, so also to your own. I think this is good. Gives you more options to get rid of all the flawed decks, like yeah, when there are too many zoo decks around, too many hunters who get too many 1/1s or 2/2s or whatever out. This just gets rid of them. And it's also very interesting for like a Reno deck where you cannot have too many. You generally can't have too many board clear AoEs. So yeah, I think this will see some play. I don't think it's amazingly good, but it is good. It kills a lot of the stuff that can be potentially annoying, like Knife Juggler. So yeah, nice card. Cryomancer, 5/5 for 5, Battle Cry, gain +2/+2. If an enemy is frozen, then it's a 5 mana 7/7. Maybe that's the reason for Freezing Potion, but I don't think so. I mean, at 5 mana, I'd much rather play a 5/5 that summons a random 3-drop, and the random 3-drop is usually better than a 2/2, and that's better. So, not impressed. Because if you don't get off the Battle Cry, then it's quite bad. A 5 vanilla 5 mana 5/5 is not what you want to play. And if you get it off, then it's not even then not an amazing card. So meh. Cabal Crystal Runner, 6 mana 5/5, costs 2 less for each secret you have played this game. So that's the Mage equivalent of Think From Below. So it's the Cabal Crystal Runner from below. In a secret deck, yeah, you'll probably just play this. I don't see why not. It's not super amazing, but or super exciting. It's just a vanilla 5/5 essentially for some amount of mana. It could be a 0 mana, but it's only going to be a 0 mana after you have played several 3 secrets. So it becomes a 0 mana later in the game that enables swing turns like Flame Strike, Crystal Runner from below, and that's a very strong turn. But it's not super amazing, but I think it's a solid good card. Greater Arcane Missiles, 7 mana, shoot 3 missiles at random enemies that deal 3 damage each. So it's 9 damage for 7 mana. 10 damage costs 10 mana. But that's targeted damage. This one is random and can be splits up. That can be better, it can be worse. Be interesting to see how strong this is going to be, especially with ability power in play. Like if you have +2, +3 spell damage, how strong this is going to be. I think this is potentially a very good card. Could be pretty strong because 7 mana for 9 damage, that's pretty good deal. Ink Master Solia, nicht Sophia. 7 mana 5/5, Battle Cry. If your deck has no duplicates, the next spell you cast this turn costs 0. Now, I think this is only useful. I mean, first of all, no duplicates, so this is obviously only if you have a Reno deck you're going to play this. I think you would have to play a pretty expensive spell for this to be good. Like I think you have to combo this with like Flame Strike, the new Arcane Missiles, Pyroblast, Fire Lens Portal, something like that. I think if you combo this with a Fireball, this is probably not good enough. But with the big spells, if you can get the big spells off with this, then it's a good card, I think. Is that enough for it to see play? I think I would definitely try it in a Reno deck, but I'm not super convinced that it's not like I see this and think, oh yes, I definitely want this in my deck. It's like, yeah, possibly. With the right spell in your hand and the right situation, this is pretty good, otherwise not so much. So Mage has obviously the attempt to make Reno Mage more useful and more stable and better. And the thing is, Reno decks in general benefit from a larger card pool, because if there are more good cards to choose from, the restriction that you can only have one-offs becomes less important. So the fact alone that there are now more cards in the set, in Standard, means that Reno is better. And you have another card that benefits from the same style. If that benefit is good enough, I don't know, possibly. And the other thing that I think is going to get tried is the secret deck. Because of Runner from Below and Cabal Lackey. So yeah, Mage. Paladin. Getaway Kodo. Secret: when a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand. This is potentially a very good secret. It depends a lot on... I mean, it's you have to play differently when you have stuff like this. If it kills your get down, then you're going to be very sad. If one of your dudes gets killed, it's going to make you very sad. With cards like with strong death rattle effects or expensive cards with strong death rattle effects like Tyrion or Sylvanas or Cairn, you don't want this. I think you would want Redemption. That's just better because it saves you both the mana to recast the minion and the time, because then it can attack right away next turn if it doesn't get killed again. If it gets killed again, yeah, okay, that's a little bit sad sometimes, but still, I think that would be better. I think Getaway Kodo is stronger for minions that have Battlecry effects, obviously, but also for tech cards like Bran Bronzebeard. You play Bran Bronzebeard, and in that turn use another card with a Battlecry effect, and your opponent is not going to let Bran Bronzebeard live. He's going to kill him as quickly as possible. If he kills your minion you played with Bran Bronzebeard, you get it back to your hand, and you got a probably strong Battlecry card back to your hand, and that's okay, that's nice. And if it kills Bran Bronzebeard first, or only can kill Bronzebeard, then you get him back to your hand, and you can use him again to combo. So, for tech cards, I think this is interesting. Also for the 3/3 that gives Divine Shields, stuff like that. For cards like that, I think that this is a possibly good card. Grimscale Chum. 1 mana, 2/1. Battlecry, give a random Murloc in your hand, +1/+1. Generally, I think buffing weak minions is more relevant than buffing strong minions. Like if you buff a Murloc with only 1 health up to 2 health, that is quite relevant, because then it doesn't die to all the 1/1 tokens, it doesn't die instantly to pings. So that's pretty good. Is this enough to make Murloc Paladin a thing? I don't know. Maybe. Possible. But I'm not sure. Murlocs tend generally not to be very good. The only Murloc deck that sees any play is just the anything can happen Murloc deck, and in that you wouldn't want this Murloc. Mean Street Marshal. 1 mana, 1/2, Death Rattle. If this minion has 2 or more attack, draw a card. This is potentially quite good if you have a stable way to give this +1 attack. Then this is amazingly good. So Direwolf Alpha, all those cards that give bonus to attack. Very good with this card. If you can get it stable to 2 or more attack, which shouldn't be extremely difficult, very good. Smuggler's Run, 1 mana, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Now the first thing is, this seems like, oh, this is amazing. My first thought was, okay, I get like 9 cards in my hand, 9 minions in my hand, and then give all of them +1/+1, and that's +9/+9 of stats for 1 mana, and that's amazing. But is that ever going to happen? Generally, you have big hands when you are playing a control deck, or it's more likely that you have a big hand at least. And in a Paladin control deck, you have quite a lot of spells and weapons, and they don't get buffed. And for the rest of your creatures, does it matter that much? I'm not too sure. I don't think that it's going to be useful in that respect. And if you're playing aggressive decks, especially as Paladin, you want to empty your hand as quickly as possible in order to draw them again with Divine Favor. And in that case, this is also a bad card, because this is a good card if your hand is big, but if your hand is big and you're playing an aggressive deck as a Paladin, you're doing something wrong, I'd say. So, not impressive. Grime Street Outfitter. 2 mana, 1/1, Battlecry, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Almost the same thing as with Smuggler's Run. I think this one is better than Smuggler's Run because at least it also gives you a body. And it can get buffed by like itself. If you have 2 of those and play one of them, the other one gets buffed. If you have both, like 2 Smuggler's Run in your hand, the other Smuggler's Run doesn't get buffed, so yeah. Is it great though? If it hits enough minions, yes. Even though it's slow. But wouldn't you rather just have something that deals more damage? I don't know. I'm on the fence on this one. Small Time Recruits. Draw 3 1-cost minions from your deck for 3 mana. I'm not impressed by this. I mean, drawing 3 cards for 3 is pretty good. Being able to predict what cards you draw can be quite an advantage. Can be a disadvantage because it obviously excludes other cards. But in this case, if you have many 1-cost minions, then you're playing an aggressive deck. If you're playing an aggressive deck, you want to empty your hand and play Divine Favor. Would you play Small Time Recruits and Divine Favor? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't really see the application of this card. Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. Again, I've said it before, I love the name of this guy. Just very Diablo-esque. Just punch stuff together. 3 mana, 2/2, Divine Shield Taunt. Damage dealt by this minion also heals your hero. I'm still on the fence on this. I think it could be good. The effect is nice. On its own, I think it's too weak. On the other hand, a 2 mana, 2/2 Divine Shield was extremely good. Okay, it was also mech, but still. For only 1 mana more, you get Taunt and the Lifesteal effect. So, yeah, possibly good. Grime Street Enforcer, 5 mana for 4. At the end of your turn, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Again, this is even more problematic than the +1/+1 cards before. If you're playing a control deck, you're not going to have many minions in your hand most of the time. If you're playing an aggressive deck, a 5 mana 4/4 is not the stat line you want. And at that point, you're either going to have an empty hand, or you're going to have Divine Favor. Obviously, with Divine Favor and then followed by this, could be very strong, but I think that's too unreliable, too unlikely. I don't think that this is a great card. But there's a golden one. And then there's the Grime Street Protector. 7 mana, 6/6 Taunt. Battlecry, give adjacent minions Divine Shield. This will heavily depend on what cards you hit with it. If you hit 2 cards or two minions where the Divine Sheet really matters and really makes a difference, then it's extremely strong. If you play it on your own, that's a 7 mana 6/6 taunt, which isn't great. For 1 mana more you would just get Tyrion or Bog Creeper. So when you play this on your own, I don't think that it's good. If you hit like 2 of your dudes, then also not very good. If you hit 2 relevant minions, then it's really good. So yeah, it depends a lot on whether you can establish a board that's stable enough and good enough for this to hit. So that's Paladin. Class cards for Paladin. Not very impressive. Not very impressive at all. Next we have the Priest. Pint-sized potion. 1 mana, give all enemy minions -3 attack this turn only. So it's important, or it's useful when you attack into a lot of minions. And the question is what number of things you have to save with this for it to be relevant. If you save 1 of your minions when trading, is that already enough? Possibly. I hope you didn't disenchant your Shadow Word Horror. Yes, possibly. Also possibly in combination with stealing cards, like I mean the combination of Shrinkmeister and Shadow Priest did see some play. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. This could be potentially better than that combination because it costs 1 less mana and it gives -3 attack and not -2. So you can, for example, steal Sylvanas. Yeah, generally interesting card. Might want to play around with that. Potion of Madness. 1 mana, gain control of an enemy minion with 2 or less attack until the end of turn. We already know this effect with 3 or less attack. And it sees pretty much no play, but I think that's mainly because the card is way too expensive. This one is dirt cheap, 1 mana. And at least currently there are quite a lot of targets for this. So, and I don't think that that's going to change too much. So yeah, I think Potion of Madness is potentially a good card. Because I mean, we already know the effect, and whenever the effect really worked, it was very good. And the main problem was that it was just too expensive. I think putting it down to 2 attack, there's still quite a number of targets that are often played and that you'd want to steal even for only a turn. And for 1 mana, yeah, nice. Mana Geode. 2 mana, 2/3. Whenever this minion is healed, summon a 2/2 crystal. Priest was very, very desperate for a good 2-drop. This isn't it, I think. Because it only works when this creature is healed. So you cannot play it and heal something else and then get a crystal. That doesn't work. So you can't like have something wounded out, play this and Circle of Healing and then get the crystal. It doesn't work. When you only have it as a 2/3, it just dies to pretty much everything within a turn. Like it dies to Fiery War Axe, to all the 3/2s out there, to all the early game not all of them, but a huge number of early game spells that are out there. There's so many ways to kill this easily that I don't think that you can get the effect off very often. And even if, then you get a 2/2 crystal, which isn't bad, but it isn't great either. Like if you play this on turn 2, attack something, or on turn 3 you attack something, it survives, you heal it, then you've used your turn 3 to summon a 2/2 and heal this. And is that great? I don't think so. So, yeah. This is not what I would be looking for in a 2-drop as priest. Cabal Talon Priest. That's a card. 3 mana, 3/4, Battlecry, give a friendly minion +3 health. The 3 mana, 3/4 Death Rattle, give a minion +3 health was considered to be a great card. This is potentially better. The Death Rattle had the advantage that it worked off of other Death Rattle effects, like you could, like N'Zoth combo. Okay, not in standard, but still. And you could play the Death Rattle one on an empty board, and then if you were lucky and didn't get killed right away, you could play something next turn, trade your 3/4 in and get the advantage. You cannot do this with this one. But on the other hand, this one is targeted, so you can choose what gets +3 health. Mana Geode? Maybe? No, I don't think so. Possible, but I don't think so. But yeah, good card, very strong card. Just the 3-drop I would have hoped for. Greater Healing Potion. Filled with electrolytes. It's got all that plants need. Sorry. Restore 12 health to a friendly character for 4 mana. Yeah. That's heal. Note that it is friendly character, so you cannot combo this with turn healing into damage cards. I mean, you can, but that you can only kill yourself. So 12 health, that is significant. And if the meta stays aggressive, this might see play. Because 12 health, that's a lot. On the other hand, 4 mana is also quite a lot of mana. Draconet Operative. Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, discover a card in your opponent's deck for 5 mana and it's a 5/6. So 5 mana, 5/6 is already quite good stats. And the Battlecry is essentially draw a card. And arguably it's better than draw a card because you can choose which card you want to draw. And it's potentially being from your opponent's deck, it potentially opens up combos and synergies that were never intended. So, amazing card. I think for Dragon Priest, this is better than Azure Drake because it has better stats. The card effect I think is better because being able to choose from 3 cards, even though they're not cards from your deck, is better than drawing a card from your deck. And generally, as Priest, spell damage is not so good. Because you generally have cards that kill outright or that shuffle into your deck. You don't have that many damage dealing spells. So yeah, Draconet Operative 2 of in every Priest Dragon deck. That's an amazing card. In fact. Cabal Songstealer. 5 mana, 5/5, Battlecry, silence a minion. This is almost a bit surprising to me. Blizzard went out of their way to nerf the playables or played silence minions into the ground. And now they introduce new silence minions. Is a 5 mana, 5/5 silence a minion good enough? Possibly. It's hard to say. The thing with silence is, as long as there are no good available silence effects, silence gets stronger and stronger because people play more and more buffs and more cards that have very, very strong card effects. So, for example, a card that has bad stats but an extremely strong effect is potentially good in a meta where where silence doesn't exist. And on the other hand, if a lot of classes have access to silence and to good and easy and cheap silence, that would be a very bad card. But since this is only for priests, it might possibly be good. Depends on how many targets you find, obviously. But 5 mana for 5, for a 5/5 isn't terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible. And if you can get the effect off in a meaningful way, then this is a good card. Personally, I like silence as an effect. And I'm happy to see silence cards. Raza the Chained. 5 mana 5/5 Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0 this game. So another Reno style card. 5 mana for 5/5. As I said earlier, it's not great stats but not bad stats. Your hero power costing 0 is extremely good. It's just, yeah, it's really, really powerful. 0 mana hero power that's just great. So yeah, in Reno style decks, if you have Raza, play it. And the Dragonfire Potion. 6 mana, deal 5 damage to all minions except dragons. Obviously for a dragon deck this is amazing. You do have non-dragon creatures in your dragon decks, generally. So this isn't only enemy cards, and it doesn't hurt enemy dragons. So if you're playing a dragon deck match, this becomes quite a bad card. But apart from that, it's 1 less mana than Flame Strike. It deals 1 more damage than a Flame Strike. This is amazingly good. I think it's even good enough that when you're not playing dragons, you still would consider playing this. Because for 5 mana, Excavated Evil deals 3 damage to everything, including your own stuff. For 1 mana more, you up that to 5 damage. And generally, in situations where you would play this, you don't care too much that you kill your own stuff. You play this in situations where you are far behind on the board, and then, like, if you have 2 things out that die to this and your opponent has 6 things out that die to this, it doesn't matter too much that your own stuff dies. It still gets you back into the game. So yeah, Dragonfire Potion, amazingly good card. All in all, Priest got still not a good 2-drop, I think. But it got amazing 3-drop, amazing 5-drop. Especially dragon style decks will benefit a lot from this. It got potentially, possibly a heal that might be okay. It got a silence effect that's potentially nice. Got something for Reno. And got a much needed strong AoE. Is this enough to get Priest back into the game? Possibly. I think so. Because Dragon Priest didn't need much, I think, to become strong enough to play. And this might just be enough for it to be playable. So yeah, Priest.